Hey y'all, it's your boy Young Robbie Hollywood, aka Mr. Robbie the Motivator, and this is episode 2 of my new YouTube segment entitled Pen Pal. What Pen Pal is, it's a YouTube segment where I'll pick up an email once a week from either a YouTube subscriber or a client that I do constitute my coaching business, or someone who has came to my seminar, or anyone who is interested in getting some advice. So the reason again why I decided to do this is because I get hundreds of these emails every single week, and I happen to find that a lot of them have similar patterns. And I hope by giving one piece of advice to a fan or subscriber or anyone else who actually does need it, it will be able to start a chain reaction and be able to help other people who may find themselves in the same situation in a way. So this week's pen pal is named Trina. Trina is from Long Island, New York, and she writes, "Hi Robbie, my name is Trina. I'm 34 years old. I want to start off by saying how much I appreciate your segments." Oh, thank you. They're definitely a breath of fresh air for me. Wow, you're kind. I'm writing you because I have been feeling like something has been missing in my life for quite a bit of time now, which has been causing me mild depression symptoms. Someone looking at my life from the outside will think that I am crazy for even thinking about complaining. I have a great career as a chartered accountant, a loving husband, and 2 beautiful children, but I still somehow feel like there's something more for me that I just can't get my hands on. How do you propose that I deal with this? I hate feeling the way I do now. Well, Trina, I'll tell you one thing. Feeling the way you do is not something that is abnormal. It does not mean that you are not grateful for the things that you have in life, or does not mean that you don't recognize the blessings that were given to you. Feeling the way you do is normal, and I'll tell you why. The level of happiness that you're looking for, the level of accomplishment that you're looking for, the reason why you're not finding it, although you have this amazing career and this great husband and you have children, and it's something that people may look at you from the outside like, wow, how could she dare complain? She has everything. The reason why you are not feeling as accomplished as you should is because your life is not in line with your values. What do I mean by that? We all, as human beings, to get that sense of accomplishment that we're looking for, we all have a set list of values that we need to see catered to on a daily basis. The more our list of values, our top list of values are catered to, the better we feel and the more accomplished as human beings we feel. So we all have different lists of values. For some people, let's say, for example, their top 5 values could be success, love, health, anything at all. It could be, feeling attachment, or whatever it is. Everybody has a set list of values, and the more you're catering to your top list of values, the more accomplished as a person and as a human being that you feel. But let's say, for example, you're still successful. That's why, for example, you'll find people that have all the money in the world, and they're making millions of dollars a year, but they're still not content. They're still not happy. Why is that? Is because on their list of values, making money and being successful is not necessarily at the top list. So yes, they're someone looking at it from the outside who has success as their top value, or financial freedom as their top value. They will look at it and be like, wow, how dare you complain? But we all have different set of values, and by us living up to those standards and living up to those values that we set for ourselves, the more accomplished we feel as a person. So yes, you might have everything. You might have the white picket fence and the 2 children and the home in a suburb. But let's say if your top value on a subconscious basis is freedom and traveling and having fun and seeing the world, it doesn't matter how great your family is, how amazing you have it all going on, you will still feel like something is missing. So the number one piece of advice that I will give you is gain awareness as to what your top values are. What really matters to you. Really ask yourself, and it takes some really soul searching and really digging inside yourself and finding out who you are. What are the things that really matter to you? What are the things that bring you that feeling of ecstasy and fulfillment within itself, right? So But it's not enough to just gain awareness of your values. It's one thing to know your values, it's another thing to feel like you are living by them. And remember this, in some of my past videos I have elaborated on this, is the more fulfilled you feel, the more you engage yourself into a state of resourcefulness. So if you feel like you're fulfilled, if you feel like you're happy, eventually your brain turns into the state where you are seeking more of that feeling, and you have an ability to be able to see more ways to be able to multiply however it is that you're feeling. It's the same thing as feeling depressed. If you're feeling low, you somehow will tend to notice more and more things that would tend to perpetuate that state, because as human beings we're creatures of habit, and we need that repetition, excuse me. So once you have gained awareness of your top 10 values, now gain awareness of the emotions that you are attempting to run away from. Right? What do I mean by that? So always picture two columns. Okay, on one column is your values, and on the other one are the emotions that dictate how you deal with things in your life. Because as human beings, we are wired a lot more to avoid pain than we are to seek pleasure. We'll go a tremendous way to avoid pain than we would to seek pleasure necessarily, right? So you have to make sure that the emotions that you're trying to avoid are not conflicting with your list of values. I'll give you an example. If on your top list of values is success and making money, but the top fear that you're running away from is rejection and the fear of getting rejected, it's a conflict. Because if you're going to build a business, you're going to have to share your ideas with people, and some people may agree with it, some people may not. So really, you being able to harness that value and live up to it, yet rejection being your biggest fear, you're going to have a very, very hard time doing it. It's the same thing. Let's say if your top value is finding love, yet your biggest fear is the fear of being cheated on or being disappointed. It's gonna be a conflict, because yes, you're seeking love and you know that what's what it is that you're looking for, but that fear of getting cheated on and getting disappointed will prevent you from opening up to someone who may have the key for you to feel like you're living up to that value. So it's very important that you have that list of the values that that you want your life to go by, and also being aware of the top emotions by which you're running from. See, again, this allows you to be able to live on a conscious level and being able to know what's going on in your mind, being able to take control of your life instead of feeling like you're kind of a victim of a flood and being taken down a river stream. So once you figure that out, these are my top values, these are the emotions that I'm trying to avoid. Now what you must do is change what I like to call your rules of engagement. In terms of what rules of engagement are rules that armies live by. Those are the rules that say, if army A, if the enemy does this, we do this. If they attack us with mortars, we have to respond this way. So you have to be able to redefine your rules of engagements between both lists. And what do I mean by that? Rewire yourself in being able to create patterns of more resourceful states. So for example, if on your top list of values is love, right? You have rules by which you go by that dictate, okay, if this happens, I will feel loved. Right? But the problem is most people's rules of engagement are very disempowering. Right? So let's say, for example, if on your top 10 value is love, but your rule in order for you to be able to feel loved is you have to have the adulation of thousands of people, and everybody has to be able to agree with your point of view, what it is that you're putting forward. It's gonna make it very difficult for you to be able to feel that love that you're looking for. The more difficult it is, the less you're going to be into an empowered state that will allow you to be able to multiply that feeling. Do you see how it's a vicious circle at that point? right? It's the same thing with success. If in order for you to feel successful, you need to have $15 million in a bank, and that's the only thing that you will really never get to have that feeling in you in order for you to be able to multiply it, because your rules of engagements are too disempowering, right? So rule number one is never base your rule of engagement on something that is outside your control. The same thing applies with the feelings that you're trying to run away from. See, because as human beings, we make it a lot easier for us to go into states where that we want to avoid than the ones that we're actually seeking. Let's say, for example, if on your top 10 feelings that you're trying to avoid is rejection, and your rule to feeling rejected is, maybe, let's say, if you make eye contact with someone and they don't make eye contact back and you feel rejected, you're making it a lot easier for you to be able to go into that state, right? If you're on your top list of feelings that you're trying to avoid, let's say, is loneliness, and your rule for loneliness is, even if you're in a room full of people, if you're not the center of attention, therefore you are lonely, you're making it a lot easier for you to be able to go ahead and go into that state that is necessarily not helping you grow as a better person. So my advice to you is change your rules of engagement. Make it a lot easier for you to feel good and make it a lot harder for you to feel bad. Let's say, for example, if you're on your top 10 values, being healthy is one of them, then make it in a way that, if you get up and go for a walk, just go for 5 to 10 minute walk, you are allowing yourself to be able to feel those sensations of being healthy, and therefore you will multiply it. Instead of maybe saying, hey, I will only feel healthy once I've lost 80 pounds, change it within yourself and be like, you know what? If I can master myself to get up, go out for a 10-15 minute walk, I will allow myself to be able to feel those emotions that I am looking for. And on the other hand, let's say if let's say the fear of failure is one on the top of the list of the feelings that you're trying to avoid, then make it really hard and just be like, you know what, I will only consider it failure if I have tried it 1,500 times and all 1,500 times haven't worked, and that's the only time that we'll consider it failure. Therefore, then, if you try it, let's say for the 78th or 80th time, and it still hasn't worked, you haven't failed, because your rules of engagement as to what it is like to feel failure, to feel like you are in a state where you have tried everything and failed, have not been met yet. So change completely your entire rules of engagement, and you'll see yourself getting out of that state, and you'll be able to develop a more resourceful state that will eventually multiply into more and more and more and more resourceful state, therefore landing you as to how you want to feel and where you want to be, and feeling like you're an accomplished human being. I really hope that helped. If you have any more questions, any further maybe ideas that you would like to elaborate on, feel free to send me an email. Please feel free to share the video if you feel like there's anyone that that may be able to use that advice. If you do decide to subscribe and comment and visit our Facebook page as well, you can see that link all over the place. The first 20 people to send me a message on the Facebook page will be granted access to our Google Plus Hangout. It's being held every single Wednesday evening at 8 Eastern Time. It's an amazing place to be. There's a few coaches that do appear on there, and it's pretty much a panel discussion where people meet and just exchange ideas on how to be able to better ourselves from a spiritual standpoint in order for that to radiate on our outside life. And I tell you really want to be a part of this. So go ahead, subscribe, comment, and share the video. And please feel free to message us on our Facebook page. We're really looking forward to hearing from you. And the first 20 people to message us on the Facebook page will be granted free access onto the Google Plus Hangout. There's usually a charge that is associated with that, but if you're part of that top 20, go ahead and send us a message on our Facebook page. The link is in the corner there, and I promise you, it's something that you are going to love. So until then, have an amazing, amazing, amazing day, and remember, if you want the island, burn the boats. Cheers.